Sometimes the night turns into a test of patience. You fall asleep heavily, like a stone dropped into warm water, and for a moment it feels as if you've been absorbed by silence. Then, an hour later, your body quietly lifts you toward the surface. Not from pain, not from a nightmare, just a soft pull toward the bathroom. You return, flip the pillow to its cool side, try to catch the fading warmth of sleep, and there it is again. Steps down the hallway, the whisper of a door, one more interruption. By morning there's no brightness in your eyes, only a syrupy fatigue, a heavy head, and a new irritation at small things that never used to matter. Many people tell themselves the same story in those hours. It's age. This is how it will be from now on. Most of the time, the cause is not age and not a weak bladder. It is deeper and simpler. My name is Dr. Alexey Sergeyevich. For more than 30 years, I've helped patients reclaim peaceful nights even when they're convinced sleep has left them for good. And each time I'm reminded of the same truth. The body is not an enemy. It does not punish us with insomnia. It speaks to us. It speaks quietly in the language of physiology. Water and minerals, muscle tone and nerve state, temperature and light. When we listen, help arrives in gentle, practical forms. Not from sleeping pills, but from the way we shape our days and our evenings. From small adjustments in food and timing, and from a handful of ordinary foods that remind the body of the rules. Of night it has half forgotten. As we grow older, the body becomes more sensitive to detail. This is not a breakdown. It is retuning. Kidneys dislike night shifts. The bladder lining reacts more sharply to the saltiness and concentration of urine. Pelvic floor muscles tire and lose their easy resilience. The nervous system, drilled by stress, starts treating the smallest signal like an alarm. Meanwhile, our habits drift into the very pattern that feeds the problem. We barely drink during the day, then chase thirst after dinner. We add cookies to tea, soup to a late conversation, and a healthy glass of water before bed. Sometimes a nightcap holds the door for sleep. The result is predictable. Kidneys become more active at night, urine turns more concentrated, the bladder lining grows irritable, receptors in the wall fire too often, and the brain, trained by the day's urgency, wakes to the first whisper. A man once came to me, 72, neat, upright, exhausted. "I fall asleep," he said, and as if someone tugs a string an hour later. I get up, return, and do this 6 times a night. We did the basic tests. Blood work was calm, no infection, ultrasound unremarkable. But his water was in the wrong place at the wrong time, almost none in the day, several mugs in the evening. Meals, plenty of quick starches, few vegetables, almost no living sources of potassium or magnesium. His skin was dry, evening blood pressure higher than morning, eyes carrying that dull sheen years of broken nights create. We moved the load. We gave water to the day and quiet to the night. Gave the bladder muscle minerals, spread through the earlier hours rather than as a big night tablet. Treated the lining gently with a pause on strong late tea. Offered the brain longer exhales and softer light instead of a bright screen. 3 weeks later, he slept 6 hours without waking, for the first time in years. No drama, no sedatives. The body received what it had lacked, and it calmed down. Here is the main point. Nighttime urges are not a sentence. They are a letter from your body. I need minerals. I need rhythm. I need quiet. And the colors in this letter are ordinary. On the kitchen shelf next to the tea sit dried apricots, prunes, and dates. Many people smile. Dried fruit, just sugar. But they're small bundles of what an older body often misses at day's end. Potassium and magnesium, to relax a restless muscle, gentle fiber and polyphenols to help the liver enter night without dragging. The day's residues are long and tryptophan, the raw material for serotonin and, in darkness, melatonin. This isn't magic, it's physiology. Polite, unforced, and consistent. Take dried apricots. Their reputation is unfairly simple, something sweet to nibble. In my mind, a dried apricot is a handwritten note to the bladder muscle. You may relax. Potassium and magnesium, these two quiet ions, decide whether the smooth muscle in the bladder wall will treat a small volume as an emergency or as nothing at all. When potassium runs low, that muscle becomes nervous, like a violin string tuned too tight. 2 or 3 small apricot halves in the earlier part of the day are not dessert. They're mineralization. The wall stops flinching, urges thin out. Urine itself becomes less irritating to the lining. There's another effect. Dried apricots shift water toward daytime, relieving the night. Don't confuse the issue. Being frightened of sugar is not a reason to banish 2 or 3 pieces in the daylight hours if you don't have uncontrolled diabetes. It's far riskier to starve your body of minerals and then wonder why it hums like a wire. One of my patients, 65, used to wake every 2 hours. We didn't add a night pill. I suggested something so simple she laughed. 1 apricot half in the morning, 2 at midday, with warm water. None at night. Tea earlier and gentler, dimmer lights. 2 weeks later she came in with clear eyes. I sleep, she said. Sometimes I rise once, near dawn. The secret was plain. We gave the muscle back the language of release, and the brain stopped treating every whisper from a receptor as a siren. There's also a small evening ritual with dried apricots, not medicine, a suggestion to the nerves. Soak 3 halves in warm water for 15 minutes. What you drink is sun-scented and modest. Take it 2 hours before bed. It warms the stomach and softens the mind's grip. It is not a sedative. It is the body agreeing to slow down. Prunes tell a different story. People remember them as for the bowels and leave it there. Their deeper gift is to the nervous system and to the liver's evening shift. Magnesium, B vitamins, anthocyanins, and other polyphenols together lower background anxiety and ease that last phase of hepatic processing, so you don't carry an internal storm into the night. When the liver enters the night smoothly, melatonin rises on time and speaks louder. Then, even if the bladder sends a small signal, the cortex doesn't put it on a loudspeaker. 2 prunes in the later afternoon are a small, accurate habit. Sometimes we soak them in warm water for 20 minutes and eat them an hour to 90 minutes before bed, sipping the infusion. Not a sweet snack, but a tuning of rhythm. Tatiana, 59, said, I fall asleep and wake 3 hours later, sometimes to the bathroom, sometimes to nameless worry. We didn't give her anything mysterious. We shifted water earlier, 2 prunes after lunch, only a warm mug 2 hours before bed and softer light. 10 minutes of breathing with a long exhale. Day 10 she called 6 hours with no awakening. Most people say the same phrase in that moment. It's quieter inside. That's the work prunes do. They quiet the field. Dates belong to the far edge of the evening. Their strength is tryptophan, the amino acid from which the brain makes serotonin and, if the room is dark and the rhythm is true, melatonin. Many people feel a strange split at night. They're tired but cannot switch off, thoughts galloping like horses in the dark, every sensation becoming a reason to rise. 2 small dates. 90 minutes before bed are not dessert before sleep. They're the material for a quiet hormonal key that closes the day's shop. Dates also support the sodium-potassium balance that steadies the heart, the bladder, and the nerves. I remember Ivan Pavlovich, a professional skeptic. We moved his water to the day, removed strong evening tea, gave him breath work, and asked for just 2 dates, alone, 90 minutes before bed. A week later, he phoned in a softer voice. I slept. I didn't get up. Not a miracle. His brain finally had what it needed to trust the night. This is the place to speak plainly about safety. If you have diabetes, chronic kidney disease, significant edema, or heart failure, coordinate any dietary changes with your clinician. If nighttime urination suddenly becomes frequent and painful, if there's burning, fever, blood in the urine, don't wait. Testing, ultrasound, a real visit. If you're a man over 50 with weak stream and a sense of incomplete emptying, evaluate the prostate. If you snore, choke at night, or fall asleep during the day, investigate sleep apnea. Our gentle math of evening doesn't replace medicine. It works best on a safe, honestly checked background. Now rhythm, because without rhythm, even the best foods remain only sugar. Sleep begins in daylight, not at midnight. The first glass of water belongs to the morning, warm. More follows gradually through the day. After early evening, drink only what's necessary. 2 hours before bed, a warm mug, and then stop. Alcohol is seductive. It promises quick sleep and steals the second half of the night. Strong tea and coffee late are not rituals. They're petitions to the anxious cortex. A screen's blue light convinces the brain it is still day. The kinder choice is to dim the room, soften the eyes, and let the body decelerate. Pelvic floor muscles, the invisible sling we rarely discuss, matter as well. 3 to 5 minutes of gentle contractions and releases during the day, without breath holding or facial tension, can rewrite the night's background. This isn't checkbox gymnastics, it's restoring support where it's needed. People blush at first, then return with a confession. I feel steadier in the day and calmer at night. Muscle tone is also a language, and it deserves to be heard. There's another piece we forget: temperature. Many homes are overheated. The body never gets the subtle evening cool that cues the brain. Sleep prefers a slight drop. Open the window for a few minutes, let the room breathe, or take a shower that is warm but not hot, so the skin cools afterward. The contrast is an invitation to rest and light. The night actually starts in the morning. The inner clock loves daylight. When you open the curtains and let your eyes meet the sky, even through a window, you trigger a chain that matures into evening melatonin. Without that morning handshake, the brain can't tell dusk from doubt. 10 minutes of real light can be more powerful than any sleep hack at night. Food has a rhythm too. A heavy, salty late dinner forces the stomach to work while you're trying to sleep. Blood pools in the gut, and the brain receives a message. Day continues. Give yourself 2 hours between last meal and bed. Keep the flavors gentle, skip alcohol and caffeine. The body answers predictability with calm. People often ask about sleeping pills. They have a place when a doctor weighs benefits and risks, and there's a plan. But too often we reach for a pill when the body is asking for something else. Water in daylight, quiet in the evening, minerals in the right hour, respect for the daily cycle. Sleep arrives in rooms where it isn't rushed or bargained with. You don't earn it or negotiate it. You prepare a place for it. A small evening route helps. An hour to 90 minutes before bed, turn off the screen. Dim the lamps. Breathe, inhaling easily, exhaling a little longer for 10 slow cycles. If today is for apricots, remember they belong to morning and midday, not the dark. If today is for prunes, let them happen earlier in the evening, so the liver crosses the threshold quietly. If tonight holds dates, take 2 small ones on their own. No hurry, we're not hitting a quota. we're threading quiet gestures onto the evening's chord. After a week, the language changes. Instead of "I woke again," you find yourself saying, "I woke once and drifted back." Instead of "I'm afraid to lie down," you think, "I look forward to my hour of quiet." That is worth more than any chart. There's a final truth I keep for the end. Sleep doesn't begin on the pillow. It begins the moment you choose the voice with which you'll speak to yourself. The voice that says, "Sleep now or you're ruined," is anxiety dressed as discipline. The voice that says, "I have an hour of quiet and a couple of small steps," is consent. Dried apricots are not a treat, they are a sign for the muscle. Prunes are not a laxative for night, they are a sign for the liver and the cortex that the world is quieter now. Dates are not sweets, they are bricks for melatonin. And all three work best when you whisper to yourself, "I'm not rushing, I trust, I'm giving my body a chance." Try it tonight. Morning, one small sunny apricot. Midday, a second and third with warm water. After lunch, two dark, fragrant prunes, not at night. 90 minutes before bed, two small dates alone without tea or coffee. Dim the lights. Put the phone away. Lengthen your exhale. Don't demand records. Ask only for care. A week from now, ask yourself in the morning, what changed? If the answer is, it's quieter, you're on the right road. And if questions arise on the way, discuss them with your clinician. A good doctor doesn't argue with your experience. They make the path safe and steady, suggest what to check, and support you where accuracy counts. Thank you for listening. May tonight be one awakening quieter. May the next be quieter still. And may there come a morning when you realize you remember how to sleep. Your body is not a foe. It is an ally that's tired of not being heard. The moment you speak its language, water in the day, a gentle rhythm in the evening, a few honest foods at the right hour, it answers with gratitude. A deeper breath, a steadier pulse, a quieter night. Sleep well. If this talk helped you see sleep in a new light, support the channel so more people can find it. Tap the like button. It signals that calm, honest conversations about health matter. Subscribe and turn on notifications for upcoming videos on sleep, nutrition, the nervous system, and simple evening rituals that restore confidence and rest. Share this video with someone who hasn't slept well in a long time. Your message might give them their first quiet night in years.